MiniWarGamer Dave here from MiniWarGaming.com, here with Matt. Matt, what are you doing down there? What is this?
I am having the time of my life because this is super satisfying. I am taking Age of Sigmar models, in this case they're zombies, which are just like this cool new line of zombies they came out with a little while ago, and putting them in converter trays so you can play them in the old world.
What are converter trays and why are they needed?
Well, for those not familiar with the old world, which is the new Warhammer Fantasy, the new old Warhammer Fantasy.
The new
old new Warhammer Fantasy? I don't know what you were saying. That game is it's a rank and flank game, which means that you have your ranks and you've got your flanks, or you can call it a rank and file game.
Yeah.
Typically, I hear people call it rank and flank. But, and instead of moving your models like how you do in 40K and Age of Sigmar, where you would just measure each model and move them, you instead move them on movement trays. But they have it creates a more dynamic, dynamic's not the right word. It just allows you to have like these formations marching across the field. So if you ever played games like Total War, any of them, but especially Total War Warhammer, this is basically that on the tabletop.
Okay.
Because that was made to basically be this in video game form. So movement tray converters, what happened is when Warhammer Fantasy was kind of shut down, when Games Workshop decided due to sales problems years and years ago that it just wasn't doing well. And so they destroyed the old world, literally, they blew it up. And then they came up with the new game, Age of Sigmar, which was on circle bases. It was more like 40K, which was a very, and still is a very successful product. Well, now years later, they're like, there's a lot of veteran players who still want to play Warhammer Fantasy, so they want to tap into that resource. But the problem is now everybody's put their models on circular bases. All the ones that can be used in Age of Sigmar. Or they're on the wrong size. So like, let me pull this aside for a second. And so here's the Dark Elves on these 20mm squares, but now Games Workshop is like, no, we want them to go on 25mm squares. And so you have to now go through and rebase all your models, which is a very, very time-consuming process. And so instead, we had people ask for, actually I should say Steve specifically asked for, us to make movement tray converters, because James in our Forge he's able to build stuff really quickly in Blender, so he's really good at that. And so we made these. So you just stick them in there, and boom, you're in the new size. You don't even have to do anything except print some movement tray converters, which you can buy the STLs if you have a printer, or we'll print them for you. So, and we've got a ton of people.
So what would you say is the most popular tray or conversion tray, movement tray, considering many people already have Age of Sigmar armies?
I can tell you the one that's most popular right now, and I'll also tell you the one I think is going to become the most popular. So the most popular is this one, except with squares.
And how many is that? What is it, 5
That's a 5x4 25mm square, which is your smallest size for regular infantry. Nothing gets smaller than that. It used to be the smallest was 20mm squares. Now the smallest is 25. And so this right here, this one with these Dark Elves, that is our most popular, followed by 5x2. So that's our next most popular. If you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. So 5x2 is the next most popular. And that's because of the way the collections are. So you often buy models in 5s and 10s. And so it makes sense then to rank them up. But the thing is, that might not actually be the most popular going forward. Because I think the most popular going forward is going to switch to a, let me just swap some of these out here, will be this size, which is 6x4. Now this is just a regular movement tray, but you can kind of see that's the same type of troop. It's just a regular infantry on a 25mm. And then I also think 7x3 is going to be very popular. And that's after discussions with Steve and other people who play Warhammer Fantasy. And the tough thing is you have to balance when you're playing these games, how you buy the models, but how you want to play the models. And you've played. And so you know that when you charge into battle, if you have 6 guys in the front and 6 guys are killed before they get to fight, then nobody gets to fight.
Yeah.
Because they kill the guys in the front.
They have to move forward.
Right. You're technically killing the guys in the front. Even though you're pulling models from the back, it counts as the second rank stepping in, and anybody who steps forward is not allowed to fight. And so you kind of want to go wider for units that you care about fighting. So you want to go deeper for units that kind of suck and they're meant to just kind of hold off the enemy. But for your more elite infantry, you want to go wider so more of them can fight. As you saw, those extra attacks that you get, even if you're not in base contact, can make a huge difference.
Makes a big difference, yeah.
Big difference.
Yeah.
But then if you get too big, maneuvering becomes hard.
Right.
And so I think that you're going to see that 6x4 is going to become the de facto size for regular infantry.
Okay.
Whereas 7x3 is going to be a very popular one for elite infantry, like your Chaos Warriors.
Would you guys agree? Let us know what you think too.
Yeah.
I think there's logic there, right? That makes sense.
But it's tough because 7x3 is 21. And none of them come in 21s.
They don't.
And so if they come in 5s, you've got to get 25 of them, and all of a sudden you got 4 models that you're not using. And so that's going to play into it, right? Like you don't want to waste money.
No.
Even if you're like, oh, I just won't paint those models, you still bought them. And so that's gonna play a big role. But remember, I want to point one thing out, because this is, as much as this is very OCD to see this like this, I want to show you something that you're allowed to do. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Boom. You're allowed to do that.
Wait. Hold on. Show it again.
Oh, okay. Sorry. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Boom. Look at that.
Okay.
Because I could bring a unit that's not 30. It could be 29. Now, 29 doesn't make any sense, because, like, why would you do 29? But it's just as an example that you don't have to have an equal number of models in every single rank. Every rank has to have the same number, but the last one does not. And so you can do something like if you go 7 wide, you could do 7, 7, 6. That's 20. So, but that still means that 7x3 tray is going to be what you want.
Yeah.
Because we don't sell 7x2.6 out of 7.
We don't?
No, it doesn't make any.
Why not?
It doesn't cut off that last little bit to save you the little bit of filament, so you don't have to print it, right? A little tiny less cost. No, that would be dumb. I unfortunately don't have any 7 wide ones to demonstrate, but like just to give you an idea of what you look at for difference in size, I'll put these aside. And like, for example, these Chaos Warriors, which these are Age of Sigmar models, by the way. It used to be that you'd have to have all your guys modeled like this so they could all rank up. But because everything's bigger now, you can have much more dynamic looking things. Like these guys just look, I love the look of these. And you got to play with these in arcade.
Yeah.
And they were awesome.
They were awesome.
Right.
Fantastic.
But the problem with 5 wide with something that's this strong is that the guys behind, they never get to do anything except provide what we call rank bonuses, which help with things like combat resolution. But what you really want to do is more put them on a tray like this, or even one that's 7 wide, which I said I don't have to show, unfortunately, yet, because we just added that to our catalog. But all of a sudden, your fighting rank, I should put the banner in front, of course, but I'm just going to quickly throw these guys on so you can see.
So satisfying watching you put them in the tray for some reason.
Yeah, they rank up so nicely. You might have to finagle with some. No, I didn't have to. Look at that. I thought I was going to have to, but no. So if you look at this, now all of a sudden if they charge a unit, you've got 6 that can fight instead of 5. So just imagine if there's one more. The thing, and I don't know why 7 is the sweet spot. It's such a weird number, right? Why is 7 the sweet spot? And it might be, but this the chatter that I'm hearing is that it'll be 7 wide for elite infantry. So why not 8? Why not 6, right? There's just something about that. Because they're usually on larger bases, like the 30 millimeter instead of 25. And so you get to a point where if it's wide enough, like look at this one, for example, this one's way wider, that if I have models in there, then whenever I want to maneuver, it takes a lot longer. Like the wheeling takes a lot more of your movement. Like if I want to do a 90-degree wheel like this, you're supposed to measure the movement from there to there. Well, that's going to be way bigger.
Way bigger.
Than, let's say, if it was from here to here. If it was just a 3 wide, and then I wheel, that costs me way less movement. So you're just never going to, your maneuverability is seriously hampered. But so you got to find that sweet spot. And then cavalry, they're going to have their own. Because you want to make sure that you have it wide enough for like heavy cavalry that they can all really get in there and fight. But if it's too wide, they're not going to be able to maneuver and flank and all of that too.
So there's a practicality in terms of how long it could be.
Yeah.
And yeah, that'd be quite cumbersome actually trying to maneuver that on the tabletop.
And when I say elite infantry, I don't just mean infantry that's on 30 millimeter bases. It could still be like on 25 millimeter bases. Like your Chaos Marauders, for example, are not elite infantry. Those are just regular. but there are like for the Tomb Kings, for example, there are Tomb Guard who look like skeletons, but like they're heavily armored. And they're still on 25mm bases. Those ones, you're probably going to want to be 7x3 with a Tomb King in the middle of them, right? So if that's 20 guys plus a hero, that kind of works. Because it's 7x3 is 21. But if you have a hero in there joining the unit, hey, there we go. We just solved our conundrum of hot dogs to hot dog buns, right? So it's such an interesting thing. But we're finding that people are just... and here's one last thing. Is that right now the most popular is 5x4 square conversions. So they go from the 20mm squares to 25mm squares because there's so many people with these old armies, and the cost to rebase is kind of huge, and it's time mainly. But you want to buy all the bases. Like think of it this way: like this unit of skeletons, that's 24 skeletons. I think they're only 4 points each, which means this unit is about 100 points. If your standard game is going to be 1,500 to 2,000, think about how many models you're going to have in that army. So
yeah, that sounds like a lot.
Right. Well, just look at this. There's 20 dudes. You've got to rebase them all, or you buy one movement converter tray for a few dollars, and you're done. Because you don't even have to like decorate the movement tray. It looks okay. In fact, I kind of like the look of it in black. But imagine if we took the time then to actually, take all the models off and make it match their bases.
Which you could easily too.
Oh, it'll look so good. It would look so freaking good. But you don't need to. Like, this still looks good. Just like how we usually paint the bottom of the bases, the rim of the bases black, even though it doesn't match anything. For some reason, that looks good.
It just looks good, yeah.
But 30 years ago, it would have been green because that was the color to
That's
paint
right.
the rims.
Yeah, that looked good.
That looked good at the time.
It still does.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you're in for that nostalgia kind of look. So all of this is available. Shameless plug here, obviously. We're talking about the stuff that you can buy at MiniWarGaming
This whole
Forge.
video is a plug.
Yeah, this is an advertisement. But at the same time, I want people to see kind of the mentality behind their choices, because it's going to be hard. Like if you go on MiniWarGaming Forge right now and you're like, okay, I'm going to buy some movement trays. If you buy the STLs and you have your own 3D printer, piece of cake. Because you print it, I printed the wrong size. You wasted $1 of PLA.
No big deal.
Not even. In fact, they print for even less than that. But if you are ordering from us, then there's going to be that like analysis paralysis, because there's like 150 some odd choices. Now, if you get rid of circle, you're doing square, then you knock that in half. But still, that's a lot of choices. And so it's like, do I get the 5x4s? Do I get 6x3s? 7x3s, 7x2s? And the answer is, I don't know, because the meta will kind of evolve.
Everyone's got something different, right?
Yeah.
And plus, that's a default, and then the meta will evolve from there.
Exactly. So I would say, if you're just starting out, I would like, because it's cheap enough. It's the nice thing for like a 2,000 point army, you need like 8 to 10 trays, and so you're going to spend like $50 for a 2,000 point army instead of rebasing it. Like, and then why not just spend a bit more and just get a few different sizes on top of that? So think about that 2,000 point army, how much it would cost to buy the models for 2,000 point army, and then for $50 you can buy the converter trays for it. And especially, and I think the circular ones are going to be our most popular going forward, because eventually everybody's going to rebase their old armies and there won't be any more of those. But people, on the other hand, you want 2 armies for the price of 1, then you do the circular ones with Age of Sigmar models, and now you have an Age of Sigmar army and you have an Old World army.
Yeah.
And so you can do that for Soul Blight, you can do that for Warriors of Chaos, you can do that for Dark Elves. All the legacy armies are basically Age of Sigmar armies now. So it's just, I love it. And the game is so much fun. We played it.
Yeah.
We had fun, right?
Yeah. It was effortless. It was just like, I want to do more.
Yeah, I kind of just wish we were playing more. Let's stop talking about this and play more Old World.
Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes my job gets in the way of me being able to play the games I want.
I know, right?
I told that to Steve the other day, and I'm like, I wish I just had a Wednesday night free to go on his stream, so I can just like not worry about like anything. It's like it's Steve's stream. I don't have to worry about anything. I just got to show up and play a game. He's got to handle everything else. And yeah, I just want to play more, because it's effortlessly, yeah, like you said, it's effortlessly fun, and all the little customizations that you can do, and then the strategy of of charging in and flanking your opponent and pushing back.
Yes,
and
the
forth.
flank. Yeah, I love the pushing back. Yeah. That's fun too.
And you overrunning when you
Yep.
killed something and you hit another thing and you're able to fight that and you kill all of that. Like, oh, challenging. Like, remember the challenges? You beef out a character and then he just walks around challenging every champion. And if they say no, then they don't get to fight. So either he's eliminated attacks or he beats the snot out of somebody.
Yeah.
So it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Even like the lore of like if you got frenzy and you keep on going forward, even though it may not be the best strategy, that's what you do because that's what you do as a Khorne warrior.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So no, it's a lot of fun. You have a lot of potential with the legacy armies, we'll call them, so that you can play Age of Sigmar with them and you can play Old World with them, and they work, at least for now. Like, who knows? Maybe in a year or two from now, the legacy stuff will suck. Who knows, right? Because they're not going to be updating the legacy PDFs. But right now, everything is nice and playable, and the game just kind of works. So we'll see what happens in the tournament meta, because that'll always trickle down to even us casuals, in determining kind of what people usually bring and what they think about. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything else to say about it right now.
No, I think that's all that needs to be said, really. It's just if you want these, then link provided in description. You can get them, and you can figure out which ones will match your armies if you have existing AOS armies. Or even if you're getting into the old world, you can still use them because we make the trays that had the smaller square base sizes.
Yep, all the converters. We have just regular movement trays too. If everything's in the right size base, so you don't want converter trays, we got all the regular ones too.
Yeah.
And we have square bases that you can buy and print yourself, or we'll print them for you. Yeah, all these desert bases that you can see, they're printed in our printers. So yeah, you get the idea.
Yeah, so there's regular trays as well.
Yeah, and we have desert ones, which you can also use as dirt ones, and then we also have cobblestone. So that's and then we're going to be adding more and more. Right now, James and Jeremy, our two assistants, are just working like mad, overtime hours, quite literally, to fulfill the tons of orders that we've got. So
These are like
they're
hot cakes.
I did not expect that. It was honestly an afterthought. Steve was like, "You should make converter trays." We're like, "Okay, sure." Throw them up there, and all of a sudden it's like, boom, floods of sales, and we're like, "Oh crap!" I bought 8 more printers. We went from 10 to 18 printers.
Yeah,
and
just to keep up.
And James and Jeremy are both putting in overtime hours to keep up with the number of orders, so that we can get people their stuff as fast as possible, because everybody's anxious to get playing.
Yeah.
And it's great. So, but like I said, if you have your own printer, don't have to worry about that. Just buy the STLs. You'll get the download link right away, and you can start printing. They print fast. Like, you can print one of these in like an hour or two, depends on your printer, obviously. But yeah, you can get lots of them.
Whoop!
Breaking my models.
Well, thanks for tuning in, folks, and thanks for your support. Without your support, we, as a channel, we don't make videos. That's just a fact. And we love making videos. That's what we've been doing for a very long time, for 16 years. It's 2 Khornes, man. That's how long we've been doing it. Yeah. But it's stuff like this, honestly, that just kind of reinvigorates my passion for the tabletop, for the game, and seeing something that works and that the community can actually benefit from. I think that as well is like so satisfying to see. Yes, this is a useful thing. Let's make more of it. Let's provide it for people, because we're right in the thick of it, right? So it just makes sense.
And I'd love to hear as well from you guys. Like, I've been talking about my ideas of what the sizes should be. Like, what's the ideal size? If you put aside how you buy them in boxes, what do you think will be kind of the standard de facto for cavalry and for regular infantry and heavy infantry and monstrous infantry, all of that? Like, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah. Thanks again, folks. Happy wargaming. We'll see you in the next video.